Folks, we are currently experiencing a power shift to the most disturbing degree from west to east. A global reset, a financial reset. What do I mean? Check this out. We have groundbreaking news. China unlocks a new gold-backed yuan. The dawn of a new global reserve era. Why is this so important? Well, because these countries are finding ways to skirt around the United States' greedy little fingers in their pockets. Well, the United States has the world's reserve currency, but these countries aren't using dollars anymore, meaning those dollars are coming back to us, meaning, and here's the positive news, it's going to push precious metals prices higher. There's a direct correlation between the dollar index and gold and silver prices. When the dollar's hurting, precious metals are flourishing. Well, this is going to hurt the dollar, if not destroy the dollar, because that's just another country. Russia already completely cut ties with the USD last year, maybe a year and a half ago, and just started using silver on their central bank's balance sheet, by the way, as well. Saudi Arabia just bought 932,000 contracts on the COMEX of SLV. India, record amounts of silver buying. That's not ironic. We are seeing it happen right before our eyes. But before we jump into this article, I do have an announcement. My friend Shelby from Chill Seekers giveaway is live. It was posted 3 hours ago. She's giving away this art piece. She drew this. She's a professional artist, and she's giving away her art for hitting 1,000 subs. She made a banger video about the Charlie Kirk case. I reacted to it, actually, my latest video, going into so much. She has an incredible channel. Go enter her giveaway. It's live. She'll be doing it next Friday as a live stream. Hope you win, because that prize is so sick. But anyways, let's talk about this. China unlocks gold-backed yuan, the dawn of a new global reserve era. The yuan's gold convertibility lets global trade bypass the dollar, accelerating a shift to a gold-anchored multipolar financial order. What does this mean for Americans? Well, it means you're either going to be screwed or financially stable. Screwed, obviously, if all of your income, your hard-earned money, is pegged and invested into things pegged to the dollar. When the dollar dies, everything else pegged to it dies with it. It's like switching seats in the Titanic. You can go from stocks to this, but if it's connected to a centralized system, when that system fails, it's also going to fail. And that's why when you invest into precious metals, safe haven assets, you're taking that risk away because you are in complete control of your wealth. Nothing else really offers that. So this is very important that now we have things actually happening. We talked about the BRICS, their new currency called the unit, which is this currency that I think Putin announced in the October 2024 BRICS meeting. Then, and we didn't know when that was going to be implicated or how that was going to work. We also have the grain exchange. They're creating their own precious metals exchange, but now this as well, right? In a few years, most of these countries, especially in the BRICS nations, will not be using dollars. What does that mean? All that, value that the dollar has is gone. Because remember, the dollar's not backed by anything. It's only backed by faith. If people start to think the dollar's not strong, it literally isn't strong. And that's why it's so important for us to be respected to that degree. But countries do not want Americans' greedy little fingers in their pockets anymore, and rightfully so, especially the sanctions and everything else we're throwing at them. So Hong Kong's push to become a global gold trading and reserve hub highlights a sharp contrast between real assets and endlessly printed fiat money. While the United States continues expanding its money supply, diluting purchasing power through debt-driven policies, China and Hong Kong are moving in the opposite direction, stacking tangible wealth in the form of gold. By targeting storage capacity of over 2,000 tons within 3 years and rolling out tokenized gold investment tools, Hong Kong is positioning itself at the center of a new gold-based financial system. Unlike dollars that can be created with a keystroke, gold holds centuries of trust as a store of value and hedge against inflation. Expanding RMB bond issuance further strengthens this pivot away from the dollar's dependence. In short, while Washington leans on printing presses, Asia is quietly building a hard asset foundation that wins global confidence in the long run. And now you see this chime, this sign. I think it's a chime. You see this sign. You see this sign. It says Bank of China. RMB new choice, your premier bank of RMB services, the world currency, and it's a Yuan gold. We are headed in a digital world, right? That's expected. If we're in a new digital technological era, especially with AI, it only makes sense that our new form of money would be digital. Think of like a sci-fi movie in 100 years from now or whatever. Their currency is going to be digital, right? Mobile banking, Bitcoin ATMs, everything's a swipe of a card now. Or everything is, Apple Pay and all that. There is no more cash being, traded. Go to the store and see how many people actually pay with cash anymore. A lot of stores don't even accept cash anymore. That's just naturally the direction we're going. The global financial system has reached a watershed moment. The US dollar's status as the world's uncontested reserve currency is rapidly eroding as nations urgently diversify away from US treasuries and embrace gold, which we should be doing as well, and embrace gold as the ultimate reserve asset. In the wake of the weaponization of the dollar, especially after the 2022 sanctions, like I was just mentioning earlier, on Russia, the world has woken up to the risks of holding dollar assets that can be frozen at a political whim. And even with us, right, they could freeze our bank accounts. So I get where they're coming from. I have the same fears myself. A lot of us started stacking because we didn't trust the banking system. Consequently, central banks and sovereign wealth funds are dumping U.S. debt and stacking gold at record pace, a paradigm shift with immense consequences for U.S. hegemony, international trade, and global power structures. So now we have the sanctions, weaponization, and the spark of exodus. That's the cold wallet, the cryptocurrency cold wallet I store my crypto on, by the way, is Exodus. So the catalyst for this exodus was the U.S. decision to freeze Russia's foreign reserves after its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. For decades, centuries had used U.S. treasuries as risk-free reserves underpinning trade and economic stability. Suddenly, the message was clear. Dollar reserves were only safe as long as the holder remained in Washington's good graces. This was not lost on other nations, especially those wary of U.S. power or facing geopolitical friction. As a result, the process of de-dollarization accelerated. Nations like India and China, along with scores of emerging markets, took dramatic steps to reduce their exposure to the dollar system, not out of theoretical opposition, but hard-earned fear of being the next target. And we will be the next target eventually, too. Global shift from treasuries to gold. The scale of the shift is unprecedented. India, for example, slashed its U.S. Treasury holdings by $15 billion in a single year, while boosting its gold reserves by nearly 40 tons in the same period, along with silver as well. China, the world's second largest economy, has consistently added to its gold reserves for more than 10 months straight, and silver, now holding over 74 million ounces while aggressively selling treasuries and reducing exposure to dollar risk. Chinese traders have flooded the Shanghai Futures Exchange Vault, setting records in gold inflows as economic and political uncertainty makes real assets like gold vastly more attractive than fiat promises from Washington. The implications are clear. For the first time in decades, gold is behaving as the world's alternate reserve asset, outshining both the dollar and U.S. debt as the anchor of sovereign wealth. Now, gold as the untouchable reserve. Unlike dollars or U.S. bonds, gold cannot be sanctioned or frozen by any government, and this makes it uniquely appealing, especially to countries often in Washington's crosshairs like Russia, Iran, Venezuela, and now even major emerging economies like India, Brazil, South Africa. Gold is being used for trade settlement, wealth storage, and even as a backdoor way to circumvent the global reach of U.S. sanctions. Do you blame them? I don't. This playbook by Pazzer which envisions commodities like oil being traded for gold directly rather than settled in dollars, is no longer just academic theory. It is being tested by Moscow, Beijing, and Delhi in real transactions. I've mentioned this as well. Russia completely cut out the USD. Imagine oil and gas, the lifeblood of the global economy, being priced in grams of gold rather than barrels of Brents or dollars. Should this model catch on, the ramifications for the dollar are seismic. A collapse in demand for U.S. treasuries, chronic fiscal deficits in Washington, and a power shift eastwards. Like I mentioned in the introduction, there's a massive power shift going from west to east. The Chinese yuan, quietly backed by gold. China's latest move turbocharges this transformation. On June 26, 2025, the Shanghai Gold Exchange announced new gold trading contracts accessible offshore via Hong Kong, along with designated gold vaults that allow physical delivery and storage for international clients. This is not just technical upgrades. It is a clear signal that the yuan is on its way to becoming, in effect, a gold-backed currency. For the first time, surplus from yuan can trade instantly converted to physical gold, making the yuan not just a trade currency, but a store of value, right? And that's the biggest point of all of this, is they're making a system that has trust in it, that has value, because it's backed by something of real value. You can't just infinitely print off more yuan because it's backed by gold, which you cannot just create gold out of thin air. Right. So, I mean, that's a very, very, very important point of this. Is yes, it might be digital or tokenized, but it's backed by something physical. Unless you can practice alchemy and create gold out of water or bread or whatever, you're going to have to make this a fair system. Will it be? I don't know. But it has better morals than just cutting away the silver and gold that used to back our dollars and just base it on a promise nowadays, infinitely printing more and more, inflating this dollar, and then that trickles down to the COMEX, which even the paper contracts on the COMEX are printed out of thin air, kind of like the dollar. Irony. So you see this system that's failing over here, and they're trying to make a better stabilized system that actually works. Not only just a new system, but a system that is backed by good faith, by value. And another point is, it can be instantly converted to physical gold. That's a big point. A lot of times with like digital, tokens or digital crypto or whatever that's backed by gold or whatever, it's a pain in the butt to actually get the gold. But if they can make it a system that makes it very easy for the everyday person that's not hip to digital, AI or cryptocurrency or any of that, for them to easily exchange their tokens or whatever it is for physical gold, that's going to be a success. China's gold convertibility path has made the yuan a credible global trade unit, one that is overtaking the dollar in China's cross-border settlements, now at 52% versus 43% in dollars. As the yuan is used more for trade, debt issuance in yuan grows. Brazil, Egypt, and others have recently issued yuan-denominated debt, further embedding China's currency in the global system. This inexorable process makes de-dollarization a mathematical certainty, eroding the dollar's foundational place without the need for a grand Bretton Woods reset. They're playing chess, we're playing checkers. Implications: the end of an era. This seismic realignment is almost totally missing from Western media coverage, except for my channel. But its effects will soon be felt everywhere. The US cannot fight this shift with tariffs or military force. Sanctions, once a tool of US power, are now the very thing accelerating the dollar's. That's a good point as well. Poking the bear. Like, yes, we're the most powerful country, but when you have enemies or creating enemies to this extent with the with such a serious consequence on the line, or consequences, or I mean, with Trump or whoever, even, the Federal Reserve or whoever, this is a very fine line that will change history. It will change America. I mean, if we piss off the rest of the world and truly lose the US dollar as the world's reserve status, yes, we make a pretty penny, those who are owning gold and silver, but at what cost? When I mean, our kids, our grandkids will grow up in a completely different world. It already seems like that it's going to be that way as is, but we have to play this very carefully. If they're going to find this new type of system, we have to do something as well. Clearly the dollar's not working. Go to usdebtclock.org. We're like $37 trillion in debt. The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power. It's not backed by anything. People are losing faith in the dollar. Countries are opting out of the dollar, trading within themselves. It's a bad situation. It's a bad situation. So, in this multipolar world, gold is the only true sanction-proof, universally accepted reserve. The dollar's era of exorbitant privilege is over, not by decree, but by collective actions of dozens of central banks seeking security and sovereignty in gold, not greenbacks. The ramifications will not take decades. Markets are already reacting, and global power is quietly but explosively shifting under our feet. And if you look at gold and silver's price right now, gold is up to $3,685. Silver's up to $43 now. Do you think that's ironic? No. I'm going to say this again. Someday, you will be wishing you can go back to September 19th, 2025 and pay $43 for an ounce. Well, you might pay around $50 or whatever. You will be wishing you can build a time machine and go back and pay this price, because it will be much, much, much higher. And I can promise you that. When? I don't know. But I can promise you it will. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to purchase some of this shiny stuff, send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Slayer sent you. We have weekly specials. If you want to go enter Shelby's giveaway, go do that. The prize is cooler than any type of silver. I mean, she spends hours on this stuff. It looks amazing. So go support her. And what else? If you want to join the Secret Silver Society, patreon.com/silverslayer. We do monthly giveaways over there as well. I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys later today or tomorrow. Peace. From now on, every single month on the 31st, you have a chance to win silver, a continuous silver giveaway. Well, if you become a member of the Secret Silver Society on my Patreon, you have that opportunity. So every single month, you have something exciting to look forward to, which would be winning silver. On top of that, you'll have access to a live chat room with other silver stackers where you can post pictures and chat, just hang out with everyone, and have early access to my videos along with supporting me. If this is something you'd like to do, then come join my Patreon. It's patreon.com/silverslayer. Upon joining, you'll be given a monthly raffle ticket and instant access to that chat room. Go introduce yourself. Everyone is super nice, and it's more personal and intimate than a YouTube comment section. Folks, I'm so excited to announce that I've partnered with American medical experts whose purpose is helping veterans get the medical benefits that they truly deserve. Over 17 million veterans aren't receiving their full benefits, and if this is you or someone you know, then act now. American medical experts are offering free consultations through our med team to see how we can help. The med team offers board-certified doctors who have experience working with the VA, comprehensive comprehensive medical evidence for services like mental health as well. Some of these include your Nexus letter, your DBQs, your TDIUs, your AAs, and more. I want to personally thank American medical experts for helping veterans, but also giving me an opportunity to help veterans as well. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment to get a free consultation through our med team. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless.